10 Sun Tzu strategies that built every billion-dollar empire.
You guys will find that you have passions, and having a passion is a gift. I think we all have passions, and you don't get to choose them, they pick you.
Jeff Bezos has a peculiar reading habit. While most CEOs are reading the latest business books, Bezos returns to the same 2,500-year-old text every single year, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and he's not alone. Steve Jobs quoted Sun Tzu in Apple board meetings. Elon Musk has referenced Sun Tzu's principles in Tesla's strategic planning. Mark Cuban calls it the most important business book ever written. But here's what most people miss. They're not reading it for the war stories. They're studying the psychology behind strategic thinking that's built every modern empire. I'm a behavioral finance researcher, and I've spent years analyzing how ancient psychology principles drive modern business success. What I'm about to show you isn't just historical curiosity, it's the exact psychological framework that separates billion-dollar companies from everyone else. Coming up, I'll reveal the 10 Sun Tzu strategies that built Amazon, Apple, and Tesla, why thinking like an ancient warrior gives you a competitive advantage in modern business, and the one psychological principle that Sun Tzu discovered that still controls every market today. But first, let me show you exactly how Jeff Bezos used Sun Tzu's most famous principle to destroy every competitor Amazon ever faced. The Amazon example. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you need not fear the result of 100 battles. This isn't just ancient wisdom, it's Amazon's entire business model. When Amazon entered the book market in 1995, they weren't competing with bookstores, they were studying them. Bezos spent months analyzing exactly how traditional bookstores operated, where they were strong, and most importantly, where they were psychologically vulnerable. Traditional bookstores had physical limitations, limited shelf space, geographic constraints, high overhead costs. But they also had psychological limitations. They thought like retailers, not like strategists. Amazon knew themselves too. They had unlimited digital shelf space, global reach, and most crucially, they thought like warriors, not merchants. While bookstores were trying to optimize their current business model, Amazon was designing a completely different battlefield. The result? Amazon didn't just beat bookstores. They made the entire concept of physical book retail psychologically obsolete. This is Sun Tzu's psychology in action. Victory through strategic positioning, not direct confrontation. The 10 Sun Tzu strategies. Strategy 1. Win without fighting. Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. The modern translation? Create market positions so strong that competitors can't challenge you. Look at how Apple uses this. They don't compete on price or features. They created a luxury technology category where traditional competition rules don't apply. When you're buying an iPhone, you're not comparing specifications. You're buying into an identity. Apple wins without fighting because they changed the battlefield from functional competition to psychological positioning. Strategy 2. Speed is the essence of war. Rapidity is the essence of war. Take advantage of the enemy's unreadiness. Tesla didn't gradually enter the car market. They shocked the entire industry by moving faster than anyone thought possible. While traditional automakers were debating whether electric cars were viable, Tesla was already building charging networks. While competitors were running focus groups, Tesla was delivering cars. Speed created psychological momentum that made Tesla feel inevitable, not experimental. Strategy 3. Use local guides. Use the local guides to achieve perfect knowledge of the enemy's condition. Facebook's early growth strategy was pure Sun Tzu. Instead of trying to understand every market themselves, they used local influencers and early adopters as their guides. Each college campus had students who became Facebook evangelists. These weren't employees. They were psychological assets who understood their local social dynamics better than any corporate strategy team could. Strategy 4. All warfare is based on deception. Now, before you panic, this isn't about lying to customers. It's about strategic misdirection of competitors. Amazon mastered this. For years, they appeared to be losing money, operating at thin margins, barely profitable. Competitors thought Amazon was weak. In reality, Amazon was deliberately reinvesting every dollar into infrastructure, creating psychological and operational advantages that became impossible to match. While competitors were celebrating their profits, Amazon was building the fortress that would dominate e-commerce forever. Strategy 5. Attack where they are unprepared. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. Netflix understood this perfectly. They didn't attack Blockbuster's strength, physical stores, and new releases. They attacked where Blockbuster was psychologically unprepared, convenience and selection. Blockbuster was optimized for physical retail psychology. Netflix created mail-order psychology, then streaming psychology. By the time Blockbuster realized the battlefield had changed, the war was over. Strategy 6. Water shapes its course. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground. Google's search algorithm adapts to user behavior in real time. Like water finding the path of least resistance, Google flows around user needs so naturally that we forget we're using a search engine. We're just Googling. This psychological adaptability makes Google feel like an extension of our own thinking, not a separate tool. Strategy 7. Unity of command. When the strike of a hawk breaks the body of its prey, it is because of timing. Apple under Steve Jobs demonstrated perfect unity of command. Every product, every marketing message, every design decision flowed from a single strategic vision. This creates psychological coherence that competitors can't match when they have multiple decision-makers pulling in different directions. Strategy 8. Know the terrain. Know your terrain and use it to your advantage. Amazon Web Services exists because Amazon knew their terrain better than anyone. They built massive server capacity for their own e-commerce needs, then realized they could rent that capacity to other companies. They turned their internal infrastructure into their biggest competitive advantage by understanding the psychological needs of other businesses. Strategy 9. Psychological warfare. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Tesla's psychological warfare isn't against customers. It's against the automotive industry's assumptions about what cars should be. Every Tesla announcement, every Elon Musk tweet, every production milestone creates psychological pressure on traditional automakers. They're not just selling cars, they're selling the future, making everyone else feel like the past. Strategy 10. Concentration of force. He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not will be victorious. Amazon concentrated their force on customer obsession, while competitors concentrated on profit optimization. This patience created overwhelming psychological and operational advantages. When you're genuinely focused on solving customer problems, customers become your psychological allies against competitors who are focused on extracting profit. Why this psychology works. Here's the fascinating part. Sun Tzu wasn't just writing about military strategy. He was documenting universal principles of psychological advantage that work in any competitive environment. These strategies work because they understand something fundamental about human psychology. We don't just compete on rational factors like price and features. We compete on psychological factors like perception, timing, positioning, and narrative. The companies that dominate aren't necessarily the ones with the best products. They're the ones that best understand the psychology of their competitive environment. But here's the crucial part. These aren't manipulation tactics. They're strategic thinking principles that create genuine value by understanding psychological reality. Your strategic implementation. So how do you apply Sun Tzu's psychology to your business or career? Start with Strategy 1. Know yourself and your competition. Most people skip this step and wonder why they're not winning. Before you make any major business move, understand your psychological strengths and your competitors' psychological weaknesses. Then apply Strategy 2. Speed. In our information age, psychological momentum matters more than perfect planning. Move fast enough to create the perception of inevitability. Finally, use Strategy 10. Concentration of force. Instead of trying to compete on every dimension, choose one psychological advantage and concentrate all your resources on dominating that single area. The key is thinking strategically, not just tactically. Most business advice focuses on tactics, what to do today. Sun Tzu focuses on strategy, how to position yourself to win over time. The most successful people in history, from ancient generals to modern billionaires, understand something that most people miss. Success isn't just about having the best product or working the hardest. It's about thinking strategically and understanding the psychology of competitive advantage. Sun Tzu figured this out 2,500 years ago. Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk figured it out in our generation. The question is, will you? If this changed how you think about business strategy, subscribe to Behavioral Alpha. We decode the psychology behind success every week, combining ancient wisdom with modern applications. Next week, we'll show you Machiavelli's psychology trick that never fails. The 500-year-old principle that still controls every negotiation. You won't look at business conversations the same way again. What's your biggest takeaway from Sun Tzu's strategies? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one and respond personally. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.